The rain is starting to pick up a little now again. But, you know, and then of course Treasure Island. We're coming up to Treasure Island. And they still have the pirate, you know, in front. In fact, one of my associates, he knows one of the guys that's been doing it for like 15 years, something like that, 15, 17 years. And he says the water is so cold, especially this time of year, you know, and he can't wear a wetsuit. And he says it likes to give him a stroke. It's so cold when he hits that water. And yet he's got to do it every night, repeatedly. So everybody has some part of their job they hate, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm very, very fortunate to be able to do what I do, and yet there's still certain things that I just don't want to do or hate to do, but I have to do them. And that's the way life is, isn't it? Now, the Palazzo is, I think, much, much cooler than the Wynn. Now, I know, you know, and here's the Wynn right here. And I think I was going to say earlier, but if I didn't mention it, I will mention it now, that one thing I'm most proud of in all my years in Las Vegas is that I was the last musician that played at this property when it was the Desert Inn, right here. And they used to have the big marquee right out here in front, and it said Tommy Mac and Tim Ballard duo, and that was the same stage that Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, they all played on. And I was so honored to play 4 weeks, the last 4 weeks that the Desert Inn was operating. And if you watch the movie Ocean's 11, the original one, with Sammy Davis Jr., Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, when Dean Martin sings the song Slow Boat to China, I think it is, can't remember. Well, anyway, it's whatever song it is that Dean Martin's singing, and he's playing piano, although he's probably not playing, he's faking it. Yeah, I know he's faking it. Anyway, that particular scene, that is the Starlighter stage that I performed on, and we were there 4 weeks with Keely Smith, the legendary Keely Smith, and she was a huge legend in the 1950s. Most people looking at this video now wouldn't have any idea who Louis Prima and Keely Smith were, but back in the day, on the Ed Sullivan Show in the 1950s and the 1960s, they were the equivalent of the top American Idol today. They were the hottest act, one of the hottest acts, and certainly the hottest act in all of Las Vegas for well over 2 decades. And of course, Louis Prima being a trumpet player, that was what was really strange. When I did that gig, you know, we came on before Keely Smith and her group did, and we befriended each other and became very close friends in the 4 weeks that we were playing there. And she tried to get me to go on the road with her, and you know, it was just something I wasn't really into or didn't want to do. I've spent too many years on the road and just really didn't want to do it. But I've often wondered, you know, why she was so adamant about that. And I think it was because I'm a trumpet player, and of course her ex-old man was a trumpet player and singer like myself. And but she's still going, man. She's like 80. She's 80 something, and she's still performing and still going. God bless her, man. I love her to death. Keely Smith. If you ever get a chance to see her, make sure you do. She's a real treasure. And the Venetian. I like the Venetian. I think the Venetian has real class. I think it's one of the few that really work in terms of recreating the old world Italy I hate Paris. I think Paris sucks. Paris sucks in every way. I ate at their buffet last week sometime. I can't remember, and I just thought it was horrible, especially for the price they wanted. It's one thing if it's, you know, relatively cheap. By the way, I think, you know, if you're coming to Vegas and you just want a cheap, good, and that's, oh, I'm glad I remembered that. You know, I made the stops on all my old buffet places, and one of my favorite always used to be Bally's, and it's gone. No, you go into Bally's, where Bally's buffet used to be. Now they had just 3 or 4 people sitting there at a table, and it was all gone. And it's closed shop completely. They don't even do anything there anymore. So that one's gone. And where else did I used to go all the time? But the buffets have become higher. They're not as good as they used to be. So my recommendation to all of you who are coming to Vegas for the first time, or it's been a while since you've been to Vegas, I would recommend that you just go to one of the station casinos, which, by the way, they're in bankruptcy. Yeah, that's right. All of the station casinos. That means Palace, Sunset Station, Boulder Station, La Fiesta, or the Fiesta. All of them are in receivership, but they're still operating, you know. But I've mostly, because I stay way out in Summerlin when I'm here, so I go to the Fiesta one off of Lone Mountain, and during the day and during the week it's only like 11 bucks, and in my opinion it's far better than most of the buffets on the strip, certainly, because I just think the quality has gone down so much. Now we're coming up to Caesars, and I will say this: God bless Caesar's Palace, man. It's one of the few that has remained the same. It still looks pretty much the same as it always has for the last many decades. And of all the places in Caesars, my favorite, and I performed there at several different, you know, I performed it in the convention center there, and at the what do they call it, the boat there, where the big boat is. But my favorite place in all of Caesars, which is where I have so many memories I can't tell you, is, well, I call it the hooker bar, but it's really not a hooker bar. Although you will meet nice girls there, believe me, you will meet nice girls. But it's the little, I think they call it the Galaxy Bar now. That's what they call it, the Galaxy Bar. Anyway, you go into Caesars, the main entrance, and right where you check in, let's say you walked into the front doors, and and instead of going up to the front desk, it's on your right. Just go on your right, and you will see the Galaxy Bar to your left. It's the one that's kind of risen on a platform, and believe it or not, they still have a piano in there, and nobody was playing when I visited the last couple times I've been in there in the last 3 or 4 weeks, but somebody is performing there. There's all the amateurs. See them all walking along the street there? How you doing, guy? Hey, how's it going for you, huh? Got them $2 drink well specials, whatever you're into. Whatever floats your boat. Man, I cannot believe the traffic today. And the only reason why this traffic is so bad right now is because the freeways, there's major wrecks all over the freeways. So that's why it's as bad as it is. The Mirage, the Mirage Schmage, it's not much. You know, like the old 80s tune. It ain't much. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, Sheena Easton, man, she can play. She's a hell of a drummer. If you ever get a chance to see Sheena Easton, she is quite a musician, man. Anyway,